Are you guys ready? I'm ready.
Mhm.
I'll see the nods. So perfect. I will start. So for those of you that are like, who is this person? I don't know who she is. I'll give just a really brief introduction because I don't want to put you to sleep right in the beginning of this. And we're going to do a Q&A at the end as well, I believe. I think you guys are going to help me with a Q&A. So my name is Kristy Robinett. Thank you so much for joining me virtually. Like I said, I'm super tired, probably like everyone else, you know, that pandemic fatigue. My husband last year was diagnosed with cancer. So we've been dealing with that on top of the pandemic. And so I'm so grateful to be able to talk to somebody other than him. He's probably more grateful to talk that I'm talking to somebody other than him. So it's like bonus all the way around. So I've been a psychic medium. I've seen angels, guides, our loved ones on the other side since I was a toddler. My parents were not thrilled. I grew up in a very religious household and I was giving predictions and they weren't happy that I was giving predictions and that they were actually coming true. So for me, I don't have like actually, I'm lying. I always say I don't have a crystal ball, but somebody jokingly gifted me one and it's on my bookshelf, like over there. But I don't look into a crystal ball. I'm not a typical psychic where I use earthly tools. I actually talk to our guardian angels and our guides and our loved ones on the other side. And I don't believe that I have a superpower. I believe that everyone has the ability to communicate with their angels, their guides, their loved ones, and that's what tonight is all about. I'd rather teach you guys than go on a 3-year waiting list where you're paying $600 for a session when we all have the ability to tune in and all have the intuition. So I did the normal thing. I went to college, I got married, I had kids. Don't cheat on somebody when they're psychic. Don't do that. And divorced. And as soon as I was going through all of that, all of everything came back because my then husband, my kid's dad, wasn't thrilled with the idea that I could sense and see things either. So I kind of hibernated it. And I hear this a lot with people that whether it's religion or it's life circumstances that they're just busy, that you kind of turn the dial down on the intuition, or you can turn that down. Hormones actually affect it as well, men and women. So, and it's life circumstances. So I turned it down. And then all of a sudden, when I got rid of all the naysayers in my life, it got turned way up and everything came flooding back. So I was still working in the corporate world at the time and I was confused and I ended up going to my minister. My parents, I grew up Missouri Synod Lutheran, so I always say we're like the stepchildren of the Catholics. So, you know, we're connected, but the Lutherans, we never learned about angels or archangels. We never had that. Well, some of you who are Catholic learned more about the angels and the saints and all of that. We were actually taught that anything to do with angels, that they were disguised as something demonic and so, just weird stuff, just weird. It doesn't mean all Lutherans are weird or they believe that, but that's what I was raised in the parochial setting. So, you know, when you're going through that and you're seeing things and you're having experiences and you're like, gosh, I must be super evil because that's what I'm witnessing. So I went to my minister who on the pulpit was preaching and teaching everything that I just said. And I ended up giving him my first kind of professional reading. And as I did a big confessional and thinking he was going to like throw holy water on me and exorcise it out of me, he ended up giving me a business card of somebody and saying, I really think that you need to get a reading. And I was like, wait, what? And he's like, I actually have a friend who's a medium who is actually a Lutheran minister. And I think that you need to get a reading from him. So it was synchronized. Went for the reading. I kind of thought it was a test, though. It was like, okay, is this the snake and the Adam and Eve thing? Like, is he offering me the apple and seeing if I'm going to take it or not? So it took me a while, and I parked quite a ways down from where the session was. The gentleman closed his eyes and he opened them and he said, Kristy, you see dead people. something I don't like to classify our loved ones as dead, because we're more dead than they are. They're living way more than we are. And I'm like, I do. And he said, do you want a job? So I accepted. I was a single mom at the time, looking for a second job. Again, serendipity. And so I started to do, I still worked corporate world for a long time. And then about 15 years ago, I quit my job to do this full time, along with working with police departments. That's a whole other story. You guys might have seen those seminars too, but I won't go into that. I want to talk about angels. I want to talk angels and guides and our loved ones and all of those differences. And it's one of my favorite topics because, like I said, I didn't learn a lot about what they entailed until I got older. So do you guys believe in guardian angels? Do you guys believe that you all have a guardian angel? Whether you believe it or you don't, you all have a guardian angel. Everyone has a guardian angel. This angel is constantly with you. They tend to be assigned to you at birth. And then there's transitional angels that also take on different roles in your life, depending upon the transitional situations that are going on in your life. Clairvoyance, those that have the ability to sort of see energy, tend to see angels in that bright white light. We often sort of the things that we often say, we classify them as him and her. There is no gender to an angel, and they really don't have the wings. It's their aura. So if you've ever seen anybody standing by light, or if you've seen an aura, they give off an aura of energy and it looks like wings. So it's not like they're necessarily flapping around like bats. But your guardian's angel's role is to make certain you're safe and you're guided. I often joke that my guardian angels must be drinking because they're probably very fed up with me. I'm very type A. I'm very strong-willed. And I am like the worst client and like, prove it to me, show it to me. I want to see the sign. And they're probably over here going, are we going to the bar again, you guys? Because really tired of Kristy. So the English word angel comes from the Greek angelos, which means messenger. And we see that a lot in the biblical sense as well, as the angels were messengers. You know, we think of even the Christmas story, right? That they appeared, you know, to the wise men and said, you know, and there's so many other references, and they were always messengers. So if you can kind of think of that with your angels, that they're giving you messages, they're not necessarily supposed to save us. They're not necessarily supposed to change your free will. They're guiding us and they're giving us messages all of the time. They are beings of light who do respond to our calls for guidance, assistance. They protect us and they offer us comfort. So I often tell anybody, especially teenagers, especially kids, I love to talk to kids, especially those that have an ability that they don't understand, because but even as adults, when we're going through tragedies or trauma, we feel so alone, you know, and we think of even COVID and how isolated we've been. And we have a team of people around us, or angels or guides or our loved ones around us all the time. Well, not in the bathroom or when we're in the shower, not like all the time, but most all of the time. And they want to help us. So our angels are our guardians. They're our guides. They are divine spiritual beings of love and light that work with humanity, and they help us through our lifetime. They are unique to each person. So everyone has a different team. For some people, it might be one angel. For some people, it might be dozens of angels. I have another thing that I love to do. Can you tell that I love my job? I love my job. It's not classified as a job, but I love it. Is I've worked with hospice numerous times. And when I see those that are transitioning, it's so interesting because I'm getting ahead of myself, but they often see those on the other side. They often see angels. They see their loved ones. They have experiences that are paranormal or metaphysical in nature. And I have been able to witness sitting in the room, their angels coming to get them. And those that know, that are aware, that are conscious and know that they're going to transition soon, to see the comfort that they're given by the other side to walk them home to heaven is such an amazingly beautiful sight. It's chilling. So the angels respect our free will. They won't directly interfere in your life unless you ask. So if you're like, why is my life crappy? Why is it feeling so heavy? It's probably because you're waiting for Superman to come in and swoop up and save you in lieu of actually asking. They need you to ask, and then they will respond. Unless it's danger. Unless it's like a car accident or something that needs to be responded to immediately, then they will interfere, if you will. They communicate with us all the time, and they communicate, and I'm going to go over a bunch of different ways and how they communicate because you might be surprised, but they communicate through our intuitive feelings, goosebumps. When you're uncertain about a decision, you can always ask them for a sign to confirm it, not to make the decision, but to confirm it. And signs from our angels help us feel a direct connection all the time. They enhance our intuition. There are an infinite amount of guardian angels, so it's not like we've run out of guardian angels and you're like, oh, somebody has all of the angels. They've stolen all of the angels. That's not possible. Aside from our guardian angels, we have archangels. And this is where, like, the Catholic, upbringing, you might be very familiar with it. So archangels are a higher elevation of energy. They are recognized as the leaders. So if we look in the corporate chain of things, we have like a higher energy, some might call it God. And then we have like archangels, and then we have our angels or guardian angels, and then our spirit guides, who are our ascended masters, who are those people that have walked this earthly plane that help us in situations as well, and our loved ones. So if you're looking at the kind of hierarchy of it, that's how it goes. The archangels also respect our free will and won't interfere directly with our lives either, but they do give us nudges of highest good. I'm sure that you have felt like you shouldn't have made a decision and you made the decision anyway, right? And you're like, why didn't I trust that intuitive thought? Why did I not, back out of that deal, or not accept that job, or not marry that person? Why, didn't I listen to those gut feelings? And we're given life lessons all the time. So again, I think that there's a bar on the other side where they're just like, oh my gosh, they're talking about us all the time. But they give us direction to help us with our higher purpose. So are you guys ready? We are not being tested. You are not being tested at the end of this, I promise. But these are the archangels. And if you want to keep notes, you can also call on these archangels. Remember, they won't interfere, so you got to call on them. They will help us according to these situations. So the most popular of the archangels is whom? Michael, right? So I feel bad for all the other archangels because he gets all the cred, and all the other angels are like, are you kidding me? Like, I've helped too. What's going on? I don't really think that they think that. But Michael helps with life purpose and protection. It's no wonder he's the patron saint of police officers and first responders and such because of that. So if you're feeling a little bit lost with career or just your, route where you're supposed to go, he's a really good one to call on. Now, you can call on Michael if you can't remember any of the other names, and he will assign it to an archangel or an angel that might need it. So don't worry if you're like, all I can remember is Michael, and you say, Michael, can you find the right person? Raphael. So we've got Nurses Week, right? We've got, I think it's like Nurses Day specifically today. Raphael is the archangel of healing, and that is body, mind, and spirit. So if there is mental illness or if there's physical illness, Raphael is the one that we go to. If I refer to them as he and her, they don't have a gender, but our physical earthly nature tends to want to genderfy them for some reason. So then we have, they're also for he's for travel. Raphael is also for travel. So if you are, going away, or someone is on a trip or traveling, Raphael's the one to call on. Gabriel is the one for creativity. He's the 3 C's, or she, or it. Creativity, communication, and conceiving children. So fertility. And you can think of fertility in all of that. So if you're having problems communicating with your boss, or you're having problems communicating with your spouse or whomever, Raphael's the one that kind of heals the relationship or the situation that's going on. Or Gabriel, I'm sorry, I messed up. Gabriel, sorry. Gabriel's the one that helps to heal that. If there's fertility issues, Gabriel's the one for that as well. Then there's Uriel. Uriel is also for emotional healing. This archangel is also really good for students, because this is the test taking angel. So if you're having problems with school, education, whether you're a teacher or a student, this is a good angel to call on for help as well. Jophiel. This is when you're starting to feel like life is black and white or gray. This angel helps you see the beauty in life again. This is the interior designer angel. This is like everyone on HGTV is probably using this angel. Probably Chip and Joanna Gaines has completely used this angel for their empire, is more than likely what happened. I'm making that up, by the way. That's not true. Haniel works with the lunar cycles, and that's Haniel. Again, some of these angels, you're like, I just call on Michael. So this is to release negativity. So when we go through new moons and full moons, some of you might react tired, fatigued, sassy, emotional, just all the different, especially full moons, people tend to react. I mean, ask anybody in first respond, police officers, teachers, even along with the hospital environment, they will say it's crazy. It gets crazy during the full moon. This is a good angel if you're like, I can't deal with all of this crazy. I need some of this negativity to go. So I said Uriel before, which was Uriel. Now we're going to talk about Ariel, which is not the mermaid. So Ariel. And this is the angel that works with money, prosperity, abundance. Also the angel that is noted specifically for your pets, as the guardian of your pets. So yeah, so I think everyone lately has been calling on this angel. Michael's like, hey, I don't do the money. I don't do the money. We're going on this one. So this is definitely a good one to call if you're looking for loans, or you're looking for even the life purpose. And by the way, you can use them together. They can team up. And don't ever feel bad about asking for an archangel, because you're not stealing them from somebody else. I had people say, I don't want to take an archangel when there's somebody that's in ICU that's taking their last breath and they need them to walk them home. Archangels are the only ones that can kind of clone themselves. I don't know how or why. I got a lot of questions for God, the universe when I get over there. So I probably won't be going over anytime soon because like I don't have time for her. But so don't ever feel bad. You're not testing heaven. You're not testing anybody by asking for somebody. So Zadkiel, Zadkiel, helps us remember things. So this is one that's also great for test taking. Good for asking for those that have Alzheimer's or dementia to be around. And he's a good one. Azrael. Azrael helps with healing grief. So since my job is talking to a lot of people's loved ones on the other side, this is an angel that I work with a lot. It's the one that I actually call on before I do any session and ask that I can assist with the grief process or give the right words or say the right things. This is one that I use an awful lot. Chamuel, Chamuel. This is Cupid. This is the one that helps with love. This is the one that helps with self-love. This is romance. And you know how, I don't know if you guys have ever done the whole Tony, I've lost something, help me find it. Chamuel is the archangel of lost objects. So this is actually one that you can use this archangel along with Saint Anthony to help find something. Metatron. Sounds like make-believe. I know. It's the newer archangel. I don't know how they assign new archangels, but this is a newish one. And this one helps with electronics. So it sounds pretty, I don't want to say less spiritual than the others, but you think of how we've grown, you know, as a universe. And so it doesn't mean, oh, my phone isn't coming on necessarily, but especially for somebody who wants to work in an electronics type of a field or is working in IT, or this would be Metatron, Metatron. Raguel, which is Raguel, is harmony and justice. So if you're going through legal issues, this is the one that you would call on to help with that. Raziel, Raziel. I know these are so close. They are so close. This is healing past trauma and pain. So if anyone has ever had a relationship with a narcissist, a past, you know, whether it is family or a past love that you still are hurting from, this is the one that helps with that. Sandalphon, like sandal, like the shoe, and then Phon, is the creative arts. So music and singing and anything musical. I think I missed this angel. I think this angel has abandoned me. I'm not getting a job on Broadway anytime soon. So never. This one's like, I don't know her. We've lost her number. And then Jeremiah. So Jeremiel. And this one also helps newly crossed over souls. So typically I will call on Azrael and I call him Jeremy and Jeremy because we're pals like that. And he helps with the newly crossed over souls. There are others. There are so many others, but those are like the top archangels. And again, if you don't know who to call, if you're like, I don't know where my notes are, you can ask just your archangels to find that right archangel. You don't necessarily have to know them by name. But you do have to ask. You do have to ask for assistance. So typically I do who meditates here? Anybody? You guys meditate? Like for real? Do you meditate? Meditation doesn't have to be the for 30 minutes. It can just be being in the moment, saying a prayer. I tend to multitask and do it in the shower. I'll listen to either a meditation or a positive podcast or something. And my showers are only like 8 minutes. So I'm not taking a 20-minute shower. So I have a well. I can't do that. But it's just being in that moment. And typically when I do that, I will say, thank you for your protection, your healing, your light, your guidance, and your communication. Thank you for connecting with me today and all day. And so that is an invitation. It's like an invocation for them to come help. So if any of you, I know I'm mentioning religion a lot, and I don't mean to make this a theological conversation, but if you've gone to church, if you go to church, if what have you, if you've gone to church in the past, it typically follows a pattern, right? So the priest or the minister will come up and say hello, and then you do a greeting with one another. I don't know what they do now with COVID. You probably don't shake hands. You sing a hymn, you do a prayer, they do a Bible verse, they do the sermon, they do an offering, but it tends to be in the same order. For some reason, your angels and your guides like order. I don't like to call it ritual, because that sounds a little bit too Wiccan to me, which I've got Wiccan friends and there's nothing against that, but they like the ritual. So even when I come and I do my sessions, even virtually, I turn my lights on the same way. I light a candle, I come and I thank them and I invite them in. So it doesn't have to be every day for you, but if you can set 5 minutes aside once a week, even if you just put it on an alarm or on your calendar that reminds you to talk to your guides and your angels, you will start to see the manifestation of a healthier life by asking for them. So Doreen Virtue, in her book, Healing with the Angels, which is a really great book, says that the angels do their best to get our attention and to communicate with us. In this way, they help us to heal our own lives. However, we often discount the signs that they give us. We write them off as mere coincidences or our imagination. So if you've ever had a consistent sign, whether it's through nature or through numbers or something, and you're like, that's weird that keeps showing up, or that name of somebody keeps showing up, or that, there's no coincidences in life. There's always synchronicity. Now, you might not know why at that moment, but the first answer to that is someone on the other side is trying to get my attention. I get oodles of emails every day that's like, I am seeing the name Michael all the time. Is he saying something's gonna happen? Is there something scary? Is there gonna be a fire? Is there gonna be... Why we always go into the negative, I don't know, but the human side of us always forces us to go into the negative. It's highly unlikely that they're showing us a negative. It's just reminding us that we haven't talked to them in a while. And then we can whittle down where the information or what that information entails. So who sees angels? The top 3 who tends to see angels are babies or young kids and the dying. And why is that? They're probably the closest to heaven, right? So the angels are, we don't have, when we're babies or kids, we don't have the worries of the world going on. We don't have all of the noise of the world going on. We don't have to figure out who's paying the car payment or what we're going to do with the lawn or any of that. There's none of that. It isn't until we start to tell our kids there's no such thing as ghosts, which angels get mixed up in with the ghosts, and that shouldn't be, that they dismiss it. They start to dismiss it. It's like Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, Easter Bunny, and angels. They disappear. And I believe in all of them. Well, maybe not the Tooth Fairy, but all of them. So, so the angel experiences tend to be the loudest with giving strength to family members and the person that's dealing with a terminal illness. You might sense it more. Again, you know, the whole bedtime visitations, people who have dementia or Alzheimer's. Have any of you experienced anybody with someone like that? They will say that they've seen men or women in their house, some that they know and some that they don't. And I've never dismissed it because I believe that a lot of times it is their angels, it is their loved ones, and they don't have that earthly filter anymore. So they actually are kind of crossed between two different planes. They come and they help out in an hour of need. They try to prevent fatal accidents. They are companions when somebody is afraid. They help to reassess people's lives. They see things at different angles. And a lot of people see the angels around church. Again, I'm getting theological on you. Every time I go to church, I sob. Every time I see an angel, I cry. Don't know why, but I always do. So when I see the archangels or the guardian angels around a client, I actually cry. And it doesn't mean that they're going to transition. It doesn't mean that they're getting a death sentence or anything like that. But it's such a strong energy that it elicits these tears from me. So animal. I'm okay. Angel manifestations. Some may see the traditional style angel with the wings. Some may see a human form that disappears. Some may feel a presence or a force. Some may see a figure in white. Some may smell something very pure. Some may just see a light or an orb, an orb light. Some may hear a voice, and some may hear the noise of like wings, which again is just that aura energy that's flowing. Some might see a feather on the ground, or it appears out of nowhere. I had a crazy, I wasn't going to tell the story, but now I'm going to tell the story. So you're stuck with me all. So you can't throw anything at me virtually. Well, I guess you guys could, but years ago, I was putting out the first book that I wrote, which was a paranormal book. And I gave like a book release. It was a Sunday morning in Farmington at the Civic Theater, if you guys know where that is. And it's an old theater, and I had it upstairs. It's upstairs that are the theaters, and I had the theater up there. And there is an elevator, but most people take the stairs. And downstairs there is like popcorn, and there's a concession stand. And so people had signed up, but they could also just show up at the door. And it was a miserable Sunday morning. It was pouring. It was, I want to say it was around this time. This year it was springtime. And it was just miserable. And the only time that the theater was available was a Sunday morning, which it also was free parking on the street. So it was good for them. But it was a really weird, like 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. It was a weird time to release a paranormal book, but neither here nor there. So we were just getting everybody into the theater, and I was going to talk about the book, but I was also going to do some readings as well. And this old lady, had to be like in her 90s, comes trudging up the steps. And she's got like a babushka on, and she looks like a wet kitten. She's just soaked. And she's like, I can't believe there's no elevator. Well, there is, but she didn't ask anybody. And she had paid, and it was like $20, and you got the book too. And she's like, do I pay anything else when I get into the door? And we're like, nope, this is all you pay. And she's like, are you sure? I am positive, unless my husband, who always helps us, is trying to take some money under the table that I don't know of. No, you're good. You're good. And she's like, okay. So then she gets her seat and she comes back out and she goes, I need popcorn. So she trudges back down the steps. It takes her forever. She gets, and everyone's like, can we help you? And she's like, no. She gets popcorn, gets some pop, and she sits back in her seat. And so I'm like, okay, I'll begin now. And she's eating the popcorn like she's never eaten popcorn in her life. She is just like, she's savoring every single one. And everybody's eyes, there was like 100 people, everybody's eyes kept going to this lady. It was like she had this light around her that everyone just kept going to. And it was just very peculiar. So I'm reading and I'm doing things, and I end up, ending the program. And she comes up to me and she gives me a hug and she goes, I'm proud of you. I think you're doing God's work. I wasn't so sure in the beginning. I didn't know who you were. I wasn't so sure. And I said, thank you. I appreciate that. And it's just pouring out. And she starts to, I'm going to cry every time I tell the story. And she starts to walk down the steps. And everyone's like, we don't want her to walk down the steps. We want her to take the elevator, right? So a bunch of people, like 6 people, go chasing after her. And it's like 6 steps. And then there's a little bit of a ledge there. And then there's a lot of stairs down. So she goes down some of the steps and everyone's like, well, we're going to help her. We're going to make sure she's okay, or we're going to get her to the elevator. She disappeared in front of them. She was just gone. They ran out into the street. They ran into the bathroom. They ran everywhere. And she just completely disappeared. Now, she didn't pay for the ticket ahead of time. She was at the door person, and she had proper change. She had that 20 right there. But she completely disappeared. There's no way that she could have gotten. I firmly believe someone was checking up on me to make sure that I wasn't doing something really weird. But we have angels around us in these weird times. We've had, and they appear, not necessarily, I think, to test us, but to give us experiences. So, when someone can't pay their bill, they've lost their credit card or they didn't have it at Walmart, and you're like, I'll cover you. You don't know, that could be an earth angel or an angel that's on earth. When, an old man is trying to get his dog food into the trunk and you're like, I'm going to help. Again, I don't think you're being tested, but I think that they are around us all the time. They also show that they're around us through numbers. So I did a whole TikTok. I'm 50. I'm too old for all this social media, but I am on TikTok. So I did a whole divine number with that, but we get these repeated patterns. So if you've ever seen a license plate with a bunch of numbers, or you just keep getting these 111s or 222s all the time, I'm going to tell you kind of what they mean really briefly. So ones mean new beginnings, watch your thoughts, you've been stressing out too much, and start manifesting what you want. So my kids used to always say, oh, it's 11:11 or it's 111 on the clock, make a wish, right? And there's something to be said with that. Number 2 is about partnerships and love. And there's a meaning that a miracle is heading your way. 3s are about peace and clarity. The angels know that you're consumed with stress, and they're trying to help you believe again. 4s are that the angels are surrounding you and they want to know what you need. Talk to them. They're like, hey, your phone has been disconnected and we've been trying to get a hold of you and we can't get a hold of you. You need to reach out to us. 5s is a change is coming that will lead to a more positive space. 6, which we worry a lot, because it comes up 666 or 6666, and we're like, oh my gosh, put something out. My husband has actually thrown like a pack of gum on the register and said, ring that up. I don't chew gum, but do that anyway because I can't have that 666 show up. And that is actually stop worrying so much about money. Sevens, you see that in the casinos and on the scratchers and, you know, the 777. The sevens are actually not about finances, but they're about abundance. And they are showing that abundance is coming, kind of like the sixes. They're saying stop worrying. The sevens are, okay, you've manifested through the sixes and we're going to help you with that. They also are showing that they're very proud of you. The eights are you're being guided. And the nines are all of your efforts are starting to pay off. You're coming to a new stage in your life. And zero, which not a lot of people see zeros. It's just keep your mind on heaven and trust. Now, if you see your birthday or an anniversary or kind of a random number, the birthdays are to celebrate yourself. The anniversary is to celebrate that anniversary, to celebrate the people connected to that anniversary. It could be a death date even, or a loved one's birthday that might be on the other side. That's just their message of, you know, saying hello. A lot of people will see 911 and they also think that it's a scary thing. In numerology, which is a whole other subject, you actually add all of your numbers up that you're seeing, if you're seeing random, until there is one number. So if you're seeing 911, 9, 10, 11, 2. So it goes to the 2. Did you like, I had to use my hands for that. I'm an English major, not a math major. So if any kids are watching, I'm so sorry. So angels do disguise themselves as humans, like I was talking about with my story. They are often the ones that are radiating love. Ironically, this lady that showed up was pretty ornery. Remember the cartoon Maxine? She reminded me a little bit of Maxine, where she was a little bit cranky. They're the ones who share joy, though. They're the ones who try to help you believe that the world is a better place. They make you feel good about yourself. And they're the ones that are giving us glimpses of heaven while we're still on earth. And then there's such thing as earth angels. They are not technically angels. They are the people that we would classify as old souls. They can be a person. They can be an animal. They're somebody that understands us, somebody that helps us with our soul path and our lessons. They might offer physical protection or healing. I've seen a lot of people who are like, I was in the hospital and I had this amazing nurse. And so she might not necessarily have come down from heaven to take care of you, but she's being guided by, or he is being guided by your guides and your angels to do their service in an earthly way. So we get those too, which is amazing. And there's more of those than what I think we give credit, because again, we see so much negativity in the world so often, but we get those. And you can ask for an earth angel to show up too. So how do we connect with them? No angel shall interfere with a human's life unless asked, except for something life-threatening or emergency. So you have to just invite your angel in to work with you. They are not a fairy godmother. They are not like Aladdin in a lantern. Darn it. They are not a cosmic vending machine. But they can help us in so many ways that when we feel like we're alone, then that is an indication that we got to call our angels. So out of nowhere, you might suddenly have a desire to contact someone or go somewhere. Have you ever felt like, oh, I just got to go up north, or I haven't talked to my friend in forever? This could be that you're being their earth angel, or they're helping you with something through your guides or your angels. They can send information through your dreams. They can make you feel goosebumpy or tingly or warm or cold, or feel like you're moving through your body. Watch for repetition. So the words that you see, you hear, you think. So yesterday I was talking to somebody and she kept saying, this too shall pass to me. This too shall pass. And I was like, well, I do believe in that. Yep, this too shall pass. I get that. But what was interesting was I must have heard it a dozen times yesterday by completely different people. So that isn't a coincidence. That was my guide saying, all right, you're stressed and this too shall pass. And as much as you want to throw something at them, like, I'm getting it. Remember, I told you in the beginning, I think that my guides drink because of me. They really need to like plow it through to me sometimes. Notice patterns like hearing a song, the same song over and over, or seeing a bumper sticker that it's like, I really needed that information, or a friend repeating information, like I just said. It's your angels that are giving you that information. And keep asking until you feel that you completely understand. They're really not drinking. They're really not. Out of nowhere, you might suddenly have a desire to contact someone, like I said. And I'm sure we all have had that, right? Whether you want to write a letter or make a phone call or send a text. So that is that your guides and your angels are saying, you know, they need you or you need some information from them. So if you're like, I'm doing all of that, Kristy, and I'm still not able to call on my angels, what now? So they vibrate at a higher level than us. And so often we're in this earthly plane that's filled with so much, I'm going to call it filth. So this energy filth. So some common blocks is our diet, drugs and alcohol, negative people, negative situations, life chaos. So why is that? Because it's taking up space in our head, in our body, mind, and our soul. So to help with that is to find some quiet time. And I know you're like, yeah, that's like a lottery ticket. I get it. And to have patience. And also, I get it. Not easier said than done. I have like 700 people that say that to me every single day. Easier said than done, Kristy. I'm like, if life was easy, we wouldn't need all the help that we need. So if you want to see angels, this is an important one too, is take a few deep breaths. In fact, let's do that. So I just want you to close your eyes if you can. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths, kind of loosen up your shoulders, move your shoulders and your neck a little bit. Notice your tight muscles. Notice that things are a little bit tight. Adjust your seating position sometimes. Uncross your legs if you can. Uncross your arms. The goal is for you to be comfortable so that your mind isn't aware of your body. So if you've got discomfort, then you get distracted by the guidance that you're being given. And I want you to envision a doorway in front of you. This doorway is a doorway that you're going to be able to visit with your angels and your guides. And I want you to step through that doorway if you feel comfortable enough. And as you step through that doorway, notice the shift of energy and how beautiful and light it feels. For some of you, it might look like the woods or a forest. For some, it might be a beach. For some, it might be just a comfortable room with a bunch of comfy chairs and couches. Some of you might not be seeing anything, and that's because you're forcing it too much. If you don't want to go further, I want you to take a seat in a chair and just wait with us. But those that are still with me, I want you to take us some steps forward and walk along a pathway that's appeared in front of you. Take in the sights and the sounds. It's the perfect temperature. It's the perfect energy. You feel at peace and you're in this joyful space. And as you continue along this pathway, you notice that an animal comes on the path and introduces itself to you. What kind of animal is it? What does it look like? It might even tell you its name. This is your guardian angel animal. And this animal is going to take you to connect with your angels and your guides and even your loved ones. And you follow this angel. And this pet angel takes you to a bench and asks you to sit down for just a moment. And then this animal asks you to call on the angels to surround you. And in your head, say, "Angels, please surround me now." When you open your eyes from the other side in this new plane of ethereal, you notice that there's angels and there's guides and there's loved ones that are surrounding you. They're circling you. Notice any feelings that follow. Are there skin tingles or air pressure, temperature changes, warmth in your chest? There might even be a little bit of fear, and that's okay too. Ask who they are if you don't recognize. Notice any colors that they might give off. Some you might know. It might be a mom, a dad, a grandma, grandpa. Don't doubt who they are or what you see or what you feel. Your head guide or your head angel steps forward and they tell you their name. What is their name? They say they have a message for you and they ask you to look up. And when you look up, you notice that the clouds have given you a word. What is that word? Another angel steps forward and hands you a box and says there's a gift inside. Open that box. What is that gift? This is a sign of when they're around. It might have almost a secret code to it. And it might not make sense to you right now, but it will. Your animal guide says it's time to go back. And so you give your hugs and your goodbyes to your angels and your guides. And you follow this animal guide back to the doorway, feeling light and at peace. And you step back through the doorway, saying your final goodbye. But you can visit anytime you want. And I want you guys to just take a deep breath in and out and open your eyes. That's the time limit that you need. Nothing more. It gets more descriptive the more that you do it. And you don't need me to guide you through that. When you lay down at night, you can go through your doorway, find your animal pet, your animal guide, and they can help walk you because they're protecting you. And what are they protecting you from? Mainly your own fears. It's not like there's anything that's going to jump out at you in the woods of, your mind. It's not going to happen that way. So what other signs do they send us? They send us objects, coins, feathers. They send us, our ears might buzz. They might play with electricity. They send us animals, insects, music, songs, numbers, smells. You might feel them touch you, visits or dreams. You might see them out of the corner of your eye in your peripheral. You'll sense or see a shadow. That is when you're like, is that my angel? Is that my guide? Is that my loved one? Today I ran into a ghost. I literally ran into a ghost. He was as surprised as I was. I don't have this happen much. I went into my garage to go get some ice for my iced tea, and he was standing there. He looked at me so surprised. He looked so whole, and he disappeared. And I was still shaking. I forgot my ice. I went back into the house, and I'm like, I just ran into a ghost. And so sometimes they're surprised that, that we see them. We also have animal angels as well, as we kind of discussed in your meditation, and had kind of a really cool, sad, but a cool experience too. My mother-in-law, my husband's mom, passed away 2 years ago, and she had dementia, Alzheimer's, and we put her in we had to put her into a facility that ended up to be very toxic, and we had to move her. And she came to me in a dream, actually, and she said, something weird is going on and you need to move me ASAP. And something weird was going on. And thank goodness my husband doesn't think I'm that crazy, because he believed me. And we side note, not all assisted living facilities are good. They were street selling her drugs, her end of care drugs. So she wasn't getting any of them. They were street selling them. Not cool. So we moved her, and she loved birds. So she was very unconscious. She she wasn't seeing, she was almost transitioning, but she could hear the bird singing. And it was the first time she came to us, and she's like, who is that bird? Where is that bird? Who brought that bird? And we're like, it's your bird, Mom. And then there was a cat. It was a big orange cat named Ben. And he was temperamental, didn't want anybody to touch him. He would bite you. He was very feisty. But on the day that she passed away, he jumped on her bed and laid next to her. And the hospice said, this cat knows when they're going to pass away. We trust this cat to give us the signs. And it was less than a day, and she transitioned. And the cat was super nice, was like purring and loving on her. And it was like he could sense that ethereal energy. So our pets actually can see too, just as much as, kids and those that are transitioning. So to kind of summarize it, well, look at me at 7. That was like on the dot. You don't need to say a formal invitation or invocation. It doesn't have to be anything formal. You don't even need to verbalize it out loud. You can just have a simple thought about asking for your guides and your angels. Oh, so our guides are around us too, right? I talk about our guides. Our guides are those that have walked this earthly plane, and they know the suffering of having illness. They know the suffering of financial difficulties, marital problems, death. They've experienced all of that. And we also have transitional guides according to what is going on too. I feel almost as if our angels assign them to us. But you can ask for someone that might be an expert. Say you're studying for a math test, and you're like, I need somebody who is good at math. And that sometimes will be helpful too. That is not my dog. Somebody is unmuted. My dogs are actually behaving right now. So I don't know if you guys have questions, how Livonia wants to go about doing questions. I don't see a chat.
Can you hear me?
Lost you.
You're muted, Kristy.
Yeah. Unmute.
Okay, they probably muted everybody, and I got muted on that. Now everybody is unmuted. How did I get muted and you guys didn't get muted? What happened there?
No, can you hear me, Kristy?
Yes, now I
Okay.
can. Yes.
Everyone should be able to ask questions.
Okay, good.
I have a question. What about if something is happening and you say, oh, Jesus, help me?
That's an invitation. So I do believe, again, I don't want to get into a theology. I've gotten into getting into theology debates. I do believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe in the Holy Ghost.
Right.
If say, not that God or Jesus wouldn't be around, but I almost see it as a corporation, right?
Yeah.
So if they're like, okay, you don't really need Jesus, but Michael can help you, then they will assign who needs to be the help for you. You don't have to be so specific off of who there is, but I gave you guys just summary of all of the archangels in case you did want to personalize it.
Uh-huh.
But I will say that they also like, how can they help you? They also like a little bit. So say you go to your boss and you say, I'm having problems at work. And they're like, okay, well, what can we do for you? And you're like, I don't know. Your boss is going to be like, I can't help you unless you tell me what you need from me. Heaven is a little bit like that too. So they're like, do you need help with your laundry? Do you need help with money? Do you need help with love? So sometimes being a little bit more specific, it doesn't have to be so specific, but being a bit more specific is helpful to heaven in order to help
He
you.
also says having a slight elevated trope, mostly
I
on
hope
the
that helps.
sepsis.
Okay. How about if you have a bad habit of swearing, which I do, does that send the angels away or they help away?
No, I think they're drinking, smoking, swearing too. I don't know. I'm just joking.
Oh,
No, I don't think that is.
I
don't
just
think
figure
that's
maybe that
sending
makes
you
things
away.
worse. And of course, I'm not being helped because I chased my guardian angel away. And,
No, I don't think you're doing that. No, they're a forgiving bunch. They're more forgiving than we are.
oh, okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel guilt, good old Catholic guilt,
Right. Well,
So,
and guilt is a low vibration. So that guilt is actually drawing you further away from them because of that lower vibration. So stop beating yourself
Mhm.
up so much.
okay.
I have a question, please.
Yes.
I get chills, but it's not like a chill where I shake. It's like my whole body vibrates from the inside. And when I get them really strong and I get them a lot. And they never seem to come at a time where I feel like I'm getting some kind of message.
Oh, but you are getting a message. So that's the thing. So everyone, what I love is everyone has their own unique means of getting a message. So when I get chills, it's always my yes. So pay attention to like what your thoughts are when you get the chills, to see if you were thinking of something or overthinking about something, and see if it is following up with that. Or if you're just like watching, the Hallmark Channel and you get the chills, and not really thinking, and you're kind of in this absent-minded space, then it could just be that you're just more attuned to them being around you. In fact, they like to hang with us when we don't need anything. So it's like I went to the doctor yesterday and he sat down and he's like, how are you doing? And I'm like, this is going on medically. And he's like, no, I know, we'll talk about that, but how are you doing? And this was a GI doctor. So I told him, and then he told me all of the stuff that was going on in his life. And I'm like, sometimes they need to just be in that space and not have expectation.
So it could be just feeling they're there.
You're probably more attuned to them just hanging out with you. Yeah.
Could it be a loved one as well? And is there any way to tell the difference?
It could be. So that is where you kind of have to whittle it down, and it takes a little bit of development for that. And so I like to assign signs to my loved ones so that there isn't an argument off of who is connected to who, or whom is connected to what. So you can say, okay, I want to assign my, the chills to dad or grandpa. And unless you're dad or grandpa, don't give me the chills. I want to assign grandma the peripheral, shadow or a cardinal or a dime or what have you, so that there is no question off of it. I had someone the other day that I'm like, I think if you had a bear that came through wearing a tutu, that you'd still be like, I wonder if that's a sign. So we're just so oblivious because we're living in our own stress of our life. And but they are giving us signs all of the time.
Thank you.
Yes, Terry.
Hey, hi, Kristy. How are you doing?
Good.
Nice to see you. But this is a good segue. I've been finding dimes and pennies for a long time, and I recently just kind of attributed that to my grandfather. So now instead of passing them by, I pick them up, I thank them, and I've got a little special spot for that. My grandmother, his wife, loved owls. Whenever I see an owl, whether it's on a purse or a towel, I just stop
Perfect.
and go, heavenly hello from grandma. I acknowledge that. But it just is really weird. For decades, my parents, my husband and I, we see 111 on like everything, license plate, models, numbers, just randomly. And my husband and I will text, hey, it's 111, or
Yeah.
I just saw 111 on a parking space. And we're just going, is that a heavenly hello from an angel, and from whom?
It is. Those tend to be divinely sent from angels, just saying that they're around, pay attention. The more that you acknowledge your signs, the more that you will get them. I'm really hoping that heaven starts to get a money press soon. So $100 bills instead of like pennies or dime. I'm joking.
Because my husband Joseph, he said, you're such a germaphobe. I can't believe you're picking those up. And I'm going, well, they're from Grandpa.
No, I would pick them up too. I keep my coins, and I have an assignment of all of my loved ones with regards to which coin is which. And I sound like I'm such a goody two shoes. I don't want this to sound like it, but I put them in a jar and then I donate them when they get to a certain period. I turn them in for donation. So I feel like I'm giving back. I don't know.
That's awesome. And then also with the clock, I'm either seeing my birthday 10:08, my son's birthday 12:08, or just if I wake up in the middle of the night, it seems to be a triplicate, like 222, 333, 444. Does that have a meaning?
Again, just the angels saying hi, and the meanings with each number. Yeah, absolutely.
Now the birth dates I get, but the random 444, the 555s, is kind of like, I figure that's a hello.
Yep, it is a hello. Elizabeth, did you have your hand up? You're muted, my dear.
Yes, I did. My mom found a poem a long time ago that is related to angels, and she wanted to know what exactly it meant. It says, I see you from afar. I feel your every move. I see you and you and you and you. I love you from afar. I am not your last resort in life. I am a part of the light, which you were born in. I can see the land, the oceans, the skies, blue, white, and green. Walk with me in faith. Do you believe I exist? I am not your last resort. I am part of the light. I was sent to watch over you. I have appeared before your eyes, and I don't even have my wings. Do you believe I exist? Do you believe in angels?
Wow, that's beautiful.
She found it underneath near a car at the casino in a parking lot a long time ago. It was all wet, but the ink wasn't running or nothing.
That's beautiful.
She kept it for years and wanted to know what it meant.
I love that. So, I mean, I think that there's a common sense element to it, is just saying, believe in us. You know, we're there. I don't know what was going on in her life at that time, if she was feeling extra lonely or extra stressed.
I think she was still kind of grieving the loss of my dad, because my dad had passed when I was like 10. Another weird thing is, just after my dad passed, we were living in Brightmoor. We had a gas leak. So she called Michigan, and they're like, well, we're going to send someone out right away. This guy came out, all in Michigan gear and everything else, comes, fixes the gas, and then talks to us. He's like, I know your dad passed. I don't know why God took him, but let me tell you, I'm an angel. He sat and prayed with us for like 10 minutes and everything else. And then we went to call Michigan. My mom did to thank them, and they never said anyone. They apologized for not sending one out.
Goosebumps.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
So those are those like angels on earth that come. There's so many stories such as that were like accidents, you know, that somebody swooped in and helped save their life, and they wanted to thank them, or a police officer was dressed as a police officer and they didn't exist, and such like that too. So that was definitely heavenly sent.
Yeah.
I must have grew up by your hood, because I grew up next to Brightmoor. I grew up in Old Redford. So
Yep. We grew up just down the street from St. Christine's Catholic Church.
yeah.
We
not too
we
far.
used to go there. We still go there every time now and then to stop in Scotty's.
Yes, Scotty's
Scotty's-
is the best.
Yes.
Best fish. We do too. There's one in Brighton too, but the Detroit one is the better one.
Yes.
So absolutely. But I think that was, heavenly sent because she was going through that tough time. And not necessarily that she was suicidal, but also maybe not wanting to live. That doesn't
Right.
necessarily mean suicidal. Just
Right.
that she wasn't living her fullest life.
Yeah, what she is now, because she's very active on her bike and everything. Thank
Good.
you.
Good. Thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any questions? Yes, Carla?
He's on mute.
Carla, you're muted. Carla, you're muted. I'm getting old when I have to have readers. I apologize.
How is that now?
Oh, there you are. Yes.
Okay,
I
good.
see you now. I hear you now.
I was writing down what the numbers mean and I missed 1 and 2. Could you?
Yes. Let me get my notes back out because this is how much information is going through my head all of the time. Too much information going through my head.
Right.
So the ones typically are new beginnings. They
Okay.
are watch your thoughts because there's too many running through your head.
Okay.
And the 2 is a miracle is coming. Don't give up hope. It's also about partnerships in life too.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else, or we can end this? Oh, can I ask you guys though? When we did the meditation, those of you that were maybe doing it, did you guys have an animal that showed up? Did anyone have kind of a crazy animal?
No, I had a fox, but I couldn't see him. I just
You
knew
knew?
it was a fox.
I had a fox too.
Really?
Wow.
Some of you are nodding your heads too. You guys also had fox. That's
My little dear.
crazy.
My cat was put down last week and I saw
Oh,
him.
no.
I got a message from Ezekiel, who I don't know who Ezekiel is, but it was
Which would be an angel. Yeah. Which would be an angel for you. So if you had a pet, like a cat or a dog or a hamster or a bunny or something like that, that is your actual pet because they do go to the other side. If you had a deer, deers represent typically a grandmother or a grandfather on the other side that are around you. If you had a fox, foxes that you're supposed to find some more mischief in your life. You're supposed to have a little bit more playful mischief in your life. If you had a bunny, rabbits are about fertility, not necessarily like have a baby, but they're about like adding something more to your life, even in a creative manner. Trying to think. I've had people that have had crazy things like unicorns and stuff. So I always ask to see if anyone had a crazy thing.
Kristy, I had a
Yes.
skunk.
You had a skunk.
Yeah.
So skunks are that there's some stuff going on in your life that isn't necessarily great. So it's stinky, right? So it's get rid of the people that are stinky, that are keeping that are kind of keeping your life purpose kind of like putting it on the back burner.
Mine was a moose.
A moose. I love moose. Moose is about balance. So
What?
moose is having more balance in your life is what moose is. I love moose. I have a deck of oracle cards that I co-created with someone, and the moose is my favorite. The moose has the antlers and it's got stuff on the antlers, and I love moose. Did anyone see a word up in the ethereal plane when I asked you guys to look up? Did anyone have a cloud that formed a word?
No.
I saw hope.
Love it. That's a hard one.
Yeah, I saw love.
Perfect.
Peace.
I saw
Hi, Chris.
peace.
Nobody had the lottery numbers. I'm just joking.
Hi, this is Maria from New York.
Hi, Maria.
Nice to see you again.
You too.
For me, it was very magic because I start feeling very heat. I
lost you for a second. You felt warm?
I feel so the warm,
Yep.
a lot of energy, like a energy flow. But
Yep.
at the same time, I feel crying. I'm in the middle of the woods in here, and I don't know if last year, I'm working right now with a senior. Her husband passed away last year.
Oh,
but with
dear.
this try, I feel like I want to cry. I have energy and I want to cry.
Yeah, so you know that a lot of us try to withhold our emotion, and our guides are telling us all the time, feel it, feel the feelings, get some of that emotion out because you're trying to be too strong. And so they want to put those arms around, their wings around you and help you release a lot of that, because I think that that's your message, that you're stronger than what you give yourself credit for, but you don't have to be strong all of the time. Yes, Karen.
Thank you.
What if you see somebody that you don't, like they see my brother, but I don't ever see him like that much, which was weird. I think, I don't know.
So a lot of times people assume that they're going to see, and not everybody has the gift of seeing. They feel or they know, like some people said, I knew that it was a fox, but I didn't see that it was a fox, but I knew it. Those are all signs too. So we're so overloaded thinking that we're supposed to have that visual gift. And sometimes we're just so overwhelmed with so much information that they're like, I'm not going to show you in that way. So don't ever underestimate another gift of, so I lost my brother about 2 months ago, sort of suddenly. And normally I say it takes about a year for us to have that connection with our loved ones. They'll give us signs, but we sometimes won't get the dreams. We sometimes won't get the apparitions or all of that until a year after. It was the night my brother passed away that I didn't see him, but he came through and he goes, Kristy, it's so beautiful here. Don't worry about me. And I was so mad at him. I actually threw my pillow in the direction of where I thought he was, because I'm like, I got to deal with all this crap here. You're on vacation. What's wrong with you? And that sounds very selfish. But that was, like Maria's feeling all that emotion. That was my emotion that I was feeling. And I was happy, but I was also pissed. So it is, the more that you get frustrated without seeing, the less you're going to see. So it's really kind of just taking a step back. Sometimes it's not having the expectation of how you're going to receive it. Again, you can assign a sign, but just kind of letting go of some of that, which is really hard to do if you're a type A, which I am, and just allowing it to flow.
Okay, thank you.
I have a quick question for you. You had mentioned how you prepare, like you have a ritual. So before a reading, how do you prepare mentally? Do you have any advice for connect with angels? Like, how would we prepare ourselves mentally?
I think it's not a one size fits all. I think everyone can kind of have their own. I have an office, which I love. I cleanse the space. You can do it with sage, lavender, bay leaves, Palo Santo, what have you. Now I've been working from home, which is why it's colored crazy purple, and I have all my Haunted Mansion stuff back there because I love Haunted Mansion from Disney World. But it's the blueprints. They show up white, but it's the blueprints of Haunted Mansion. And so I come in and I cleanse the space. I put on soft music. I light candles. I then sort of sit down and I do a meditation or an invocation of asking them to come through. And I check with my body. Am I feeling stress anywhere? Am I feeling tense? What do I need to do so that my own personal life, the chaos of my life, isn't going to interfere with anybody? And I will say that 95% of the time it works. There's times where 5% of the time it's just hard to get out of your head. And then I don't beat myself up. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to give a good session, or I'm not going to connect with people, and I have to reschedule because I don't want to give anyone a lousy connection. So I wish there was like a magic wand that just turned it on and turned it off. I will visualize a dial sometimes where I'm dialing it up or I'm dialing it down, and that sometimes will help too. It's like I'm fine-tuning the radio of the angels and the guides as well. So, and sometimes again, I talk about expectation. I expect to have, I had someone that emailed me the other day, and he said, do you guarantee that I'll be able to talk to the person that I want to talk to? And if someone says that they're going to guarantee that, then nope, because they have free will, free choice. I once had, years ago, I had somebody that came to a session that murdered their parent. And the session was, she wanted forgiveness from the parent that she took their life. And she was not happy with me because that is not what I gave her. I gave her, she had to forgive herself. She needed to go to therapy. She needed to do all of this. But the parent that she took the life said, this is her stuff to deal with, and I'm dealing with my stuff here. So often I say expect the unexpected. I one time gave a session to a bunch of people, and everybody in the circle, it was their ex-bosses that came through. Like, why? Like, there is a common theme of everyone was like, why was it? But there was a reason, and there's always a reason for who comes through or what angel is there or who you're sensing. Or if you all of a sudden go to say, I'm calling on Archangel Michael, and instead of saying Michael, you're like Azrael, and you're like, I didn't mean Azrael. Yes, you did. Yeah, you did. So I wish there was a one size fits. I don't even know if I answered your question, Cindy. But.
Yeah, you did. I just didn't know. I mean, obviously there isn't like an order in which you ask stuff, or there isn't certain things you say. It just, you have to get into that mental state and just.
Exactly. What feels good for you. I will say that, like, even if I turn my lights on the wrong way, and maybe I'm OCD and I don't know it. Is there a therapist on here that might can validate that? I feel like I'm a little bit off with it. Just because for 20 years I've created a routine, and I only do it for this. I only do it for the connections, is that routine. So it's like a time clock for my guides. They know when I do this that they have to be on. It's showtime. It's like Broadway. It's lights. I just didn't get the singing voice for it, but it's lights for it. So yeah. Thank you guys so much. I think Livonia is going to kick me off soon. Oh, yes. Yeah. Jody? No.
I was just gonna thank Kristy for presenting tonight also. And it was very informative. I'm sure everyone feels the same too. That's just my plug from the library.
Oh, thank you guys. Thanks for coming.
It was almost like normal. Almost like normal.
No hugs. Yeah. I gotta like to give
hug
everybody. So
thank you.
Thank you.
And I don't know when is the October event gonna be up? Probably September or the 1st of October.
Yeah, we'll have it posted on our website. It'll be about a month before it's about a month before the program. Maybe like maybe 5 or 6 weeks ahead of time. Giving people enough time to see it and register for the program. So we're going to keep it on Zoom then, Kristy?
We'll keep it on Zoom.
Yeah. Okay. And we'll just play the other programs by ear, when you're feeling like, doing something in person in the auditorium. But
I realized I'm more of an introvert than I thought I was. So I love you guys, but I'm kind of liking, I'm just joking. I'm joking, but I'm not joking, but I'm kind of joking. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for presenting. Everybody have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, Kristy.
Bye.
See, how do we sign out? There we go.